Hi Leo, and welcome to the Mother Tressa channel. If you're already familiar with this space, you already know what to expect, so welcome back. I'm glad to be interacting with the energy again. But if you're new, then definitely come in and feel safe enough to be yourself wherever you are. Energetically, it really doesn't matter. I just hope you leave better than you came, okay? Like this video, share it with other Leos that you know, and subscribe if you like the vibe and you just want more of me, essentially. Turn those post notifications on though, so that you're made aware as soon as I upload and you never miss a reading. Now, before I even get to these cards, you guys, let me tell you, I have felt like this pit in my stomach, but I feel these knots in my stomach, and I've been feeling really, really nervous over the past half hour or so. I haven't been able to really get anything out, so it's kind of like a nervous energy, but a tight-lipped energy too, kind of like a if you don't ask me, I won't tell you type of energy, or just if you're having conversations is very vague, like there's so much that could be said, but you don't even want to go there, either because you're going to blow up or expose somebody's business and you feel like it's not yours to tell, or just because you have this anxiousness or nervousness to express how you feel to someone, and that pretty much being invalidated, you know, in the way that they handle you and you wanting to get something off of your chest, or you just haven't found success in doing so in other situations. And so when you're presented with another challenge that asks for you to do it again, right now you're in a space where it's kind of like a, well, no, because these last few times nobody really gave a fuck, so let me just not say anything because nobody's gonna give a fuck, you know? So that's kind of how I'm feeling. I don't know what's gonna come through, but let's definitely start with love for you guys. You have the Five of Wands. Yeah, I just feel like whatever's going on is causing you to be like really rigid and potentially like clenching your fists, or just feeling very tight. And you know, if you feel threatened, naturally you will find that your auric field, it draws in, you know, and you just feel very protective of your space and the things that you divulge, right? Naturally. So look at that and see where that is stemming from and why you feel so threatened with people that may have absolutely nothing to do with the situation at hand, you know, the root of the actual problem. So look into that and see what can be healed. And definitely, if you feel like you are really just tense and tight, try to find ways to like stretch your body, because I feel like it's having a negative effect on your nervous system altogether. So unclench your jaw. Everything's gonna be okay. You know, take some deep breaths here. I don't know, it's strange, but you have the Five of Wands here. So this is conflict and tension in matters of love. Okay. I don't know that I want to flip these over, but I'm nosy. After the Five of Wands, you have the Queen of Pentacles, Judgment card, Ace of Swords, and the Six of Cups. Oh, Nine of Cups, Knight of Cups, and the Devil. I had to. So what this is telling me is that nervousness and that pit in your stomach is dealing with those that are not in union with someone that you have feelings for, and you contemplating whether or not you should reach out, because, you know, obviously you miss them with the Six of Cups energy that's after the Judgment and the Ace of Swords. You just want to tell them that you miss them, that you love them, you know, that you'll do whatever it takes to fix the situation, because you start with this Five of Wands. So this is action-oriented energy. This is the I do's, the I am's, the I'm making, you know, verb energy. So it's like you're willing to do whatever it takes to prove that you actually care about this person. That's what you wish you could say at the very least with this Judgment energy being here. I feel like some of you guys are trying to figure out how you can orchestrate the opportunity for you to be able to talk to this person. Because for some of you guys, you're already blocked. Maybe you have them blocked, and or you just feel like if you reach out, they're just going to shut it down completely. So you never are able to express it. and then you're having to deal with baggage and carry that into other dynamics involuntarily, because the desire is there to try to have closure, to wanting to talk it out and make amends. The desire is here, either for you or for this other person. Some of you guys, you've just been feeling very doubtful because maybe there's been some mixed messages with the relationship dynamic, and so you don't know if this person has mutual feelings, and because you guys are so prideful and you don't like being rejected, and or you have issues surrounding abandonment, you can be terrified, like petrified is what I'm hearing, of really expressing your true honest feelings. Some of you guys, the issue, and this could be either somebody that you're away from or somebody that you're in a relationship with. You can be married or engaged here. There's a level of engagement that you get with the Queen of Pentacles energy. But some of you guys are dealing with issues surrounding your family and your home life. I feel like that is why things are so uncomfortable or just very tense. So let's say you're with somebody, right? And you're in a relationship, but there's a lot of conflict that you experience in the relationship. It can be because you come from a broken family, and so you've never really had those proper models and or examples to know how to care for and or honor someone else's needs, right? To be considerate of another person and or how to effectively communicate. Like, you don't know what a healthy relationship looks like. So when you're in a dynamic with another person, it can be power plays that you experience a lot, and it can happen in a lot of different ways. Like for some Leos, your dynamic is you're dealing with somebody that you're in a relationship with, but you guys can't make one solid unified decision, or you feel like whenever you tell something to your partner or you suggest something to your partner, they always question what you say. Like they want it to come from a credible source, the information that they receive. They just don't trust you, right? But again, that goes back to an area in their life where maybe somebody told them something once that they believed and they felt gullible to, and they were deceived. And so going forward, they just don't feel like anything that anybody verbally says has any validity to it, unless it's written down, unless there's a graph that you can show me, unless there are certain specifics in place, then I'm not really going to listen to you. But that can cause conflict, right? Especially when it deals with areas involving finances, like the financial decisions that you guys make or what you splurge on, right? We are in Taurus season, and so naturally you guys can be embodying that energy in different ways by what it is that, again, you spend on. And it can be things related to like beauty and or the home, or overindulging in like food or overspending on food, but being super wasteful with food, eyes being bigger than the stomach, and you're making all of these extravagant meals and you can't even eat a quarter of it, and so that's money wasted. Or if you're into fashion and spending all of your money in those areas, it's like, okay, well, let's sit down then and figure this out, because a healthy relationship is one where you guys understand, okay, like, are we going to have a joint account? It's knowing who is responsible for what, if you guys are going to be dividing assets while you're together. If you're already living apart, then this is a walk in the park, right? This is not something that you really have to think of until you get to that point where you're living together. And then that's an adjustment in and of itself. So I'm hearing growing pains. You guys are going through a season of growing pains with your partner, but you don't love them any less. If you have been together for a while and it's kind of like, okay, like, when are we going to get to that next step? I'm definitely getting that a proposal is on the table, like a promise ring at the very least. It's kind of some sort of a gesture, like an extravagant one at that, like a meaningful one at that, but it's going to be a gesture that is coming in that can show to the other person that you are actually committed, that you are in love with them and that you're not going anywhere. Now, if you're in a possessive, toxic, suffocating relationship, then that's what's coming up at this time for you, and that's why you're feeling so uncomfortable with having to spend so much time with this person. But say this is somebody that you thought you had a future with, then if you are engaged at the very least, right, or you're living together, there's some other obligation in place that requires you to be bonded, to this person, something here. Now is the perfect time with this space that we have to really be able to observe your person's behavior, to really be able to envision how it's going right now realistically, if that's something that you can put up with for the next 30, 40 years, because when you are saying I do and you're exchanging those vows, it's not something to take lightly. And I don't feel like you guys do. You guys really are the zodiac sign that struggles with having to adapt to changes. So you take breakups extremely hard. If you've ever been married and you got a divorce, like you took that extremely hard. It was incredibly hard for you to move on. You probably tried to reconnect with somebody from your past 1, if not a dozen times, because you just want to be absolutely sure that you've done everything that you possibly could before walking away. Not everybody has that mentality, but going into a marriage, it's like, okay, this is somebody that I'm going to be tied to, whose mistakes then become my mistakes, whose burdens I also have to assume. And so you're looking at the situation to see if whoever you're with is truly somebody that you are compatible with and somebody that's going to help you fulfill your destiny, or is this just somebody that you find comfort in and that you love, but you don't want to break up with because you don't want to hurt them. It's kind of like, oh, I'll just, I'll settle. That's basically what this is. And that goes for those that are not in union with someone, recently separated. Like, okay, you miss them and certain attributes about that relationship. You may feel like that person is the match or is the one, but be honest with yourself. Are they? Can this ever change? But you also have to get comfortable, Leo, and whoever you can be partnered with. This can be conversations that's coming through. You have to get comfortable with, I lost my train of thought for a second. Oh, sorry. Adapting. So when it comes to love is a choice, right? You have to take actionable steps in love. So if you wake up every day with the thought of, okay, well, I'm about to make myself a cup of coffee, I'm going to make enough just in case my partner wants one. If you can't get that confirmation yet from them because they're still sleeping, it's just being thoughtful like that and going ahead and doing that thing to show that, I care for you and I want you to have a good day and to start your day right like I am. It's when you're out at the grocery store, for the men that are watching, and you see some flowers, like, your woman appreciates plants or herbs or whatever it is that she does like. If she's into socks or, just appreciates fruit, then like grab something like that for her, and present it to her. It's like constantly leaving those lasting impressions by being thoughtful and considerate of the other person here. It's deciding, okay, when we're going through conflict, are we going to look at the problem and find a solution? Or do we just want to sit here and play the blame game? Can we be adults about this? Again, it's going back to finances, because I feel like for a lot of you guys, that's the point of contention, or where you feel the most kind of like gray and or unease when it comes to the relationship dynamic. Like everything is great except for this one area right here. And I feel like it's money. So if you don't know what you're going to do professionally, I feel like you have a great benefit with having a partner that is a provider. And maybe you guys have to switch the roles, right? Gender roles. Maybe the women are the breadwinners right now in the relationship dynamic, and that's okay, and it's not permanent, but you have to check yourself and your ego at the door for the men that are watching this and feel like your masculinity is being threatened, or feeling like a bum or a lame or whatever else could be negative, or feeling like you're stupid, or feeling like, you're unworthy. No, it's just something that you had to phase out of, that was maybe thrown in your face because you didn't decide to separate from it once it had reached its expiration date. So in those circumstances where somebody else is being more so the breadwinner, it's like, okay, but you still play an integral role. Now you have to assume the role of being the emotional support, and figuring out how you can, again, make the stress of that person's day a lot easier of a pill to swallow, to keep them motivated enough to go out and conquer the next day. So if nothing else, in terms of your relationship, you guys need to just empower each other a little bit more. In terms of having a healthy relationship, it's going to come down to understanding, and it's going to come down to being able to be compassionate, and being able to be supportive, and knowing when to forgive, right? And again, finding those solutions in your relationship. If things have kind of fizzled out a little bit as far as romance is concerned, then it's making sure that you consistently have a trick up your sleeve, bring new things into the bedroom, or in terms of just being able to play games with each other to get to know each other a little bit better. I was going through my Cosmopolitan magazines yesterday because I updated my vision board finally. And I came across these little cutout games that you could play with your partner or whoever you have romantic interest in. And they were pretty interesting. Like, definitely whoever is coming into my life next, I want to play those. But you can find games like that or download new little games or apps or whatever that you can play with each other, or just start asking each other more questions, because maybe for some of you guys, you don't know this person as well as maybe you thought you did. And so at this time, the intimacy levels will be deepening and or strengthening at this time. Just being able to have more talks with your person and what you guys see for your future, and maybe doing some goal setting or creating like a vision board together. If money's funny, I just feel like if you are into day trading or you're doing anything that deals with finances, that is actually looking good for you. Now is not the time to really promote your ideas, though I do feel like you Leos need to get better at being able to network and being able to talk about the things that you have interest in, because you never know who you're going to meet and doing it that way. You guys tend to be very modest and or humble when it comes to your finances and your financial sector, and a little bit more hush mouth when it comes to those things, but that is what's blocking your money at the end of the day. So don't be afraid to have the gift of gab with this swords energy, that air energy being what supports you. Look into the things that you do when you find yourself feeling idle, or like what you pick up the most. Like, start tracking that, keeping track of what you're doing throughout your day, that you can't help but to think back on. That might be where your source of income comes from. So if you're into video games, if you're into forums and or blogs, if you're into nightlife, like owning a bar or a club or like a restaurant, or doing something like that, then definitely start doing a little bit more research and learning more about it at this time. As far as finances are concerned, I definitely see that working well. If you are into trading, you're learning about the fluctuations, the different data points and stuff like that, you can have a career in that, or just doing something that may deal with speaking, like speaking engagements, if not a love and relationship coach. So those are the different career fields that I see for you guys. But it looks good. It looks good at the end of the day. So if this reading resonated, give me a thumbs up. Share this with your friends and family. Subscribe if you haven't. Book with me should you need to. But if I don't hear from you, then please just take care of yourself and soul until you see me again. Ciao.